1 year ago today, I published my first video on this channel. During said year, I made 23 videos, streamed 6 times, and reviewed a total of 27 games, ranging from god-tier masterpieces to... not that. It's crazy to think it's been a full year working on game reviews already, but I can definitely say I've had a ton of fun doing it. So as our mini anniversary special, let's bookend year 1 of the ToastyLoaf channel with a tier list of every game I've talked about. Since I've already covered these, I'll be brief of course, so if you want to hear more of my thoughts on each game, go watch those videos afterwards. So let's get started. Oh god, it's only the first entry and I'm sure a lot of you are already about to leave. Yes, the single worst video game I played and talked about in my first year on YouTube was Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance. Good god, I can't stand this game, and that's unfortunate because it really doesn't seem like something that could elicit such a negative reaction. It's functional, it controls well for the most part, has a ton of detail packed into the graphics as weird as they are, and starts off really strong with a fun opening area. But then it opens up and decides to throw in the most bafflingly painful world to traverse that I've seen in any game ever. And honestly, that alone just kills the entire experience. It turns everything else you do into a frustrating, confusing back and forth that makes me want to pull my hair out. I swear that Harmony goes out of its way to find any way it can to make its progression unfun, often feeling like a practical joke on the player. Obviously I've already written the review, so if you want to hear more of my reasoning, go take a look there. I break down everything that makes me hate this game in that video. This might be my worst gaming take of all time, but yeah, Harmony of Dissonance gets an F tier. One of my least favorite games I've ever played, probably in the bottom 5. I squeeze absolutely zero fun out of it. And for the second worst game, if you've been watching my videos, I'm sure it's not too hard to figure out what it is. Yep, it's Mega Man 2 on the Game Boy. I think the title of my review speaks for itself. This almost feels like a fake game. It's mostly non-functional with terrible controls, terrible music, terrible level design, terrible bosses, terrible visuals, but hey, at least the game is really funny, to the point of bringing me to tears laughing sometimes. So I honestly kind of like it for how garbage it is. It's so thoroughly devoid of any challenge that you just can't get mad at it. While this is the worst Mega Man game I played this year by far, that's based entirely on the abysmally low quality. Actually playing it really isn't bad at all, and I'd actually recommend it for the, highly unique experience it offers. It gets Mega Man 2 on the Game Boy tier, as always. But that's the last game on this list I'd consider to be actually bad, so we're taking a big jump in quality as we move on to the top 25. And at number 25 we have Mega Man 1. I think this game is perfectly okay, but nothing all that special nowadays. It has a few frustrating and outdated design decisions, but most of the game is still relatively fun and it holds up better than you might expect. Considering that this is the first in the series and such an early NES game, not bad at all, but I think it's definitely the worst of the main series, so it gets D tier. Next up is Dragon Warrior, the original NES version of the first Dragon Quest game. Sure, this game is legendary and one of the most important ever created, starting the RPG genre on consoles. It was recently inducted into the Video Game Hall of Fame for good reason, and it does deserve a lot of praise for getting so much right on the first try. The enemy designs are amazing, and the challenge is at a good level where you'll die a lot but won't get too frustrated. The combat is ridiculously basic by today's standards, but it works. Even today there's a lot to love here. But the main issue is that the grinding is just so drawn out and boring. It's like a free-to-play mobile game at times. Wait a second. It took me nearly an hour and a half to level up twice on my way to the game's final city, which was the only way I was even able to get to that city in the first place. And despite so much being done well, that was enough to kill most of the fun I could have with Dragon Warrior. I certainly don't dislike this game, but it's definitely not one I'd want to go back to. Outside of, the other 3 versions I played for the video. So it goes right above Mega Man in D tier. At 23rd we have Mega Man 4. I've talked a lot, maybe too much on this channel about how Mega Man 4 is just not the game for me. I don't really see why this is one of the highest rated games in the Mega Man Classic series nowadays, as I find the bosses and general enemy design annoying, and some of the level design kind of weirdly paced. It's a good game overall, I guess, but still easily one of my least favorites in the series. And yes, I will continue to mention it in nearly every video I make until the end of time. I'll make this one the start of our C tier. And the next one in C tier is Mega Man Dr. Wily's Revenge. Yeah, I like this one more than I expected to. It's really simple, but a lot of it works for me. The last two levels really drag it down though, being just way too long with too few checkpoints for my taste. There's not much else to say here. Similarly, we have Donkey Kong Land. This is a funny one, as compared to Dr. Wily's Revenge, it does a lot more interesting stuff to stand out. The level design is mostly really good, but then the controls and camera are hilariously bad and prevent the game from reaching its full potential. And trust me, that potential was actually there. Again, I kind of like it, but I can totally see why you might not. Starting off the top 20 is Mega Man 4 on the Game Boy. I guess this is one of my biggest hot takes on this list because this game is pretty highly regarded among fans. I just think there are some issues people don't talk about, like the insane level of copy-pasted level design and a few really bad stages that drag down an otherwise good game. Sure, the high points are high, but there just aren't enough of them for me to put it any higher on the list than this. It's definitely not bad, but I think it could have been so much better. What is it with Mega Man in the number 4 that doesn't vibe with me? I'm sure you all can't wait to see my opinions on X4, Zero 4, Battle Network 4, Legends 4, and next, speaking of 4, we have Metroid Prime 4. Is this game terrible? No, it's not. I really think it's a fine game in a vacuum and does a lot right. The bosses and controls are probably the best that Metroid Prime has ever seen. A few areas, namely the Volt Forge and parts of the Ice Belt and Flare Pool, are honestly a lot of fun. And it looks amazing, really showing off what the Switch 2 is capable of. Plus they do some cool things to help out with the 100% experience. But then, out of nowhere, it just has some of the strangest issues you could possibly think of. The desert they decided to add between the main locations? Terrible, and it just kills so much of the fun of exploration these games are known for. The upgrades are basically all from Prime 1, like, come on, you really couldn't think of anything new? Except the control beam, I love that. The progression sucks, the story is obnoxiously bad, and the endgame finds every possible way to slap you in the face with boredom and frustration. Sure, I'm more negative here than I was when I made my review of it, but this is just one of those games that only gets worse the more you think about it. Yes, it is an okay game, but this is Metroid we're talking about. Basically every other game in the main series is one of my favorites of all time, so a Metroid game getting a C tier on this list is a huge disappointment. I wouldn't be surprised if after another year it drops even further on my ranking, as by now it's already my least favorite Metroid game that I've finished. Here's hoping Prime 5 is a lot better. And staying within the genre, Castlevania Circle of the Moon is going to slide in just above Prime 4. I think this is also one of the weaker Metroidvanias I've ever played, just because there are practically no interesting upgrades whatsoever. Although the combat and general castle design are still strong enough to carry the game for me, and make it so I still had a good amount of fun. It ends up being a very basic but still enjoyable game, and I appreciate the difficulty curve even if it does get a little annoying at the end. Not one of my favorites or anything, but it annoys me way less than Prime 4. You know what? I didn't make a video on this next game, but I did make a community tab post. It's time for Paper Mario: The Origami King. This one was also a bit disappointing to me, mostly because I really do like a lot about it. The music is really good, the bosses are a lot of fun and extremely creative, some of the humor is great, and exploring the levels by whacking everything with your hammer to find secrets is simple fun. But this game suffers from two major problems that bring it down in the rankings for me by quite a bit. First is the battle system. These ring battles are an interesting idea and can be fun at times, but you don't gain anything from finishing a battle other than coins and confetti, which is used to patch up holes in the world to get more coins and occasionally progress. This means there was essentially never a time I actually wanted to fight an enemy, which is a pretty big problem for an RPG. The few times they make you fight enemies in overworld battles are really fun, and I wish they leaned into them a lot more. Just go all the way and get rid of the turn-based battles, the game doesn't need them. The second problem is the pacing, because this game is just too slow. There are a ton of weird moments of backtracking for essentially no reason, and so many small unskippable animations that slow everything down even further. Your walking speed is slow, progression is slow, cutscenes are slow, everything else is slow. Despite the lighthearted story, it just kind of feels a bit low energy at times. I honestly believe if you retooled the battles into overworld encounters and set the game on 1.5 times speed, this could legitimately be an amazing game and one of the best Mario RPGs. For now though, we have to settle for just good. And for our final entry in C tier, we have Mega Man 3 on the Game Boy. It was interesting to see in the comments of that video that people don't really like this game all that much. I think it's pretty decent, but does have a few moments of unnecessarily high difficulty, and it doesn't do much of anything to stand out. But it's above the others for a reason, of course. The majority of this game I did find to be a pretty solid time. I definitely think it's a bit underrated at least. Alright, now it's time for B tier. First we have Mega Man 7. This is a pretty decent jump from all the previous games, as I think this one is pretty good, just not a standout for me personally. The level design is all great, and the addition of some more secrets is also great. That being said, the bosses are nearly all either extremely boring or very annoying to fight, and something about 7 just never really clicked with me. Once again, it's also just really slow, with the cutscenes dragging and taking up time where I'd rather just actually be playing the game, so it can't go any higher than this on my list. Like I said though, it's good for sure. Next up, we have a combo pack of The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages. These were the games I reviewed for my first videos on the channel. Although those videos are actual garbage now, please don't go watch them. I'm actually thinking of redoing them someday so I can have videos on those games that are at all watchable. Anyway, I think these two games are pretty good. My opinion of them kinda gets lower the more I think about them, but the best parts of these games are fantastic and better than the high points of every game on the list so far. In particular, I'm thinking about the dungeon design. Based on the fact that my first 3 videos were Zelda dungeons ranked, I think it's pretty obvious what exactly I value in a Zelda game. I want good dungeons and I want a lot of them. It's not that I dislike the overworlds, but to me those are far less interesting. Anyway, the Oracle games do have some really good dungeons like the Sword and Shield Maze, the Ancient Ruins, Jabu Jabu's Belly, and the Ancient Tomb. Some dungeon items are really creative and fun to use too. I love the switch hook and the magnetic gloves especially. But the overworlds are really not all that fun to me. I like the Rod of Seasons and the Rod of Ages, of course, but outside of that there are just too many random arbitrary things the games expect you to somehow figure out to do to progress, and it gets frustrating pretty often. These kind of turn into guide games when they really shouldn't be. I'll leave it there for now though. I'd definitely like to get back to these Zelda dungeon ranking videos sometime because they're a lot of fun to make. You know, the first time I played this next game, I didn't really love it, but now I have a new appreciation for it. I'm talking about Dragon Quest, the Switch port of the mobile version. Sure, it's absolutely hideous and runs about as well as my tonsils used to before I had them taken out, but there are a few nice quality of life additions compared to the GBC version, which you'll see in just a second by the way. But next up is Mega Man 2. I like this game more every time I play it, and it's gone up from nearly last place in my Mega Man rankings to solidly near the middle. The general level design and, of course, the music are really good, and easily the game's biggest strengths. It suffers from issues like the overpowered Metal Blade, the horrible Boo Beam Trap, and unfun boss design. But the good qualities are good enough that I do really like this game on the whole nowadays. And our final B tier game, barely cracking my top 10 of the year, is Dragon Warrior 1 on the Game Boy Color. I really like this version of the game. It's such a ridiculously huge improvement over the original NES edition, hence its much higher placement. It cranks up the pace from painfully slow to so fast that it feels like you're actively breaking the game. Sure, it doesn't have the challenge the original had, or any at all, but this version is just plain fun, and that's what I'm looking for when I'm playing Dragon Quest. It's only like 7 or 8 hours long and makes the most of that runtime. I really didn't expect to like this version so much, but I really do. And now for our first A tier game, we have Donkey Kong Country. Yeah, I did spend a long time in that review talking about why I dislike the 100% experience here, but come on, this game is just really fun. It's a good start to my favorite 2D platformer series of all time. The fact that this is my least favorite in the main series and it's already this high on my list is a testament to how amazing those games really are. Go play it if you haven't already. And for another classic platformer, we have Mega Man 3. My opinion of this game has gone all over the place, but I've settled on really liking it. It's definitely not my favorite Mega Man game, but the first half is nearly perfect, and I think it takes a lot of risks that pay off. Plus, it has the greatest NES soundtrack of all time, so that's a plus. It's unfortunate that it was so rushed, and the second half of the game is clearly and hilariously unfinished, but it's short enough and the rest is fun enough that it doesn't matter all that much to me. And then there's Mega Man 5. Yeah, like I said in that video, I love this game, and I think it's one of the best NES games ever made. I disagree with most people who call it boring, and I think it's just very well designed in nearly every way. Sure, it's a bit easy, but I found the ending picks up the slack quite a bit and offers more of a challenge, so I don't mind all that much. And why don't you just take a guess which one comes next? Yep, it's Mega Man 8, taking the highest spot in A tier. I just love this game, and sure, it has a few issues, but who cares? The cutscenes are so bad they're good, the gimmicks are all really fun, the bosses are awesome, it looks amazing, sounds amazing, and it's just fun the whole way through. Yes, even the snowboarding. There isn't as much traditional Mega Man gameplay as usual, which is just enough to bring it out of S tier, but not any lower than that. What an awesome game. Alright, now starting both the top 5 of the year and S tier, we have the amazing Mega Man 5 on the Game Boy. Yeah, it really is that much better than every other Mega Man Game Boy game, all languishing in C tier or below. It's highly creative and does a lot of memorable things to stand out from the other 8-bit Mega Man games, both visually and with its mechanics and level design. It's somewhat challenging but never unfair, and there's probably only one level in the entire game I don't love. Sunstar is also my favorite final boss in the Mega Man Classic series by far, ending the game on an extremely positive note. It's just a seriously awesome game, and I think every Mega Man fan absolutely needs to play it. And hey, speaking of amazing Mega Man games, Mega Man 6. Yeah, you all know how much I love it. It's my most viewed video on the channel by a lot right now, so I imagine everyone watching this one will have already seen it. Every level is really fun, you have a fantastic toolkit of weapons and adapters to play around with, the music is amazing, the graphics are some of the best on the NES, I love the world travel theming, and I mean, what's not to love? Once again, it's a bit easy I suppose, but like with 5, I'll take an easy and fun game over difficult and not fun. Yes, I know Mega Man is known as a difficult series, but I honestly think that gets a bit overblown. Outside of Mega Man 1, I don't think of any of the first 8 games as being very hard. Maybe 3, I guess, because of the Doc Robot, but yeah. In my opinion, 6 is the greatest NES game ever made. It really is just that good, and I'd recommend it to any fans of platformers of any kind. Alright, and for number 3, the only other game I've made community tab posts about, but not a video, Donkey Kong Bonanza. First of all, obviously this game is amazing. Like, yeah, clearly it is. The whole concept of destroying the terrain works incredibly well and is fun and satisfying. The game looks good, controls well, and has great level design. Seriously, the balance between the ability to explore to find collectibles versus going down the main path is absolutely nailed. Oh, and it has one of the best endings I've seen in any game ever. No spoilers, but that ending alone is worth playing the whole game, especially if you're already a Donkey Kong Country fan, which of course I am. That being said, there is one major issue that holds it back from being perfect, and as a result, I have to say that I definitely prefer Super Mario Odyssey. As many of you know, both games were made by the same team, hence the comparison. That issue is, like with DKC1, the 100% experience. This game is just way too long if you're fully completing it, and honestly it doesn't feel worth it. There are too many fossils and bananas to find, and it gets kind of boring. While a good number of the individual challenges are fun and interesting, too many of them blend together and get very repetitive after a while. Because you can get any collectible in whatever way you feel like, none of the individual challenges really have a chance to stick in your mind. But once you get later into the game and unlock, spoiler I guess, skip ahead to the timestamp here if you haven't played the game yet, the Elephant Bonanza, it becomes absolutely trivial. You just vacuum up the entire stage, demolishing everything including the fossils, any bananas you might have missed, and getting a ridiculous amount of gold and maps in randomly spawning treasure chests to find even more fossils and bananas. So then at this point the game just becomes tedious since there's no challenge or anything, you just go around slurping up all the terrain. This is very, very satisfying at first, but not so much after doing it for 20 hours straight. Yes, I could just not use the Elephant Bonanza, but that would probably add on another 10 hours of game time, which I didn't want to do. In general, the game is just a little too easy anyway, with the only real challenge coming at the very end. I know I said I don't mind easy, but this is way easier than even Mega Man 5 and 6. This all makes it sound like I don't like Bonanza, but no, I really loved it for most of the runtime and got hooked by this game the instant it came out. I just doubt I'll 100% it in the future unless I do a video on it. It would be awesome if we get a new 3D Mario game sometime soon, because while this is great, it's more of its own thing and doesn't scratch quite the same itch. Now for my second favorite of the year, and I just have to say, man I love The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. I consider my video on it the first one I made that's watchable. I still completely agree with everything I said there, although the voiceover and audio editing obviously hasn't held up that well since I didn't have a microphone then. Anyway, this game is simply amazing, and it's the one that got me into retro gaming as a whole back when I first got a Switch in 2018. The dungeons are fantastic, and the overworld is generally really fun and well designed, with only a select few moments I don't like in the entire game. The pacing is ridiculously well crafted, as you spend nearly the whole game in dungeons or actively working towards getting into the next one, just the way I like my Zelda games. I still think this is one of the best in the series even today, and is basically required reading for anyone who likes video games in any capacity. One of the most influential games ever made, and still one of the most fun. Reminder, I was born in 2002 and this game still blew my mind. Let that be a testament to how good it really is. Is it the best Super Nintendo game of all time? I wouldn't say so, but it does make my top 5. And finally, for the best game I've reviewed all year, yep, it's Castlevania Aria of Sorrow. Yeah, I already loved this game the first 2 times I played it, but my third playthrough just made me realize how mind-blowingly awesome it is after I decided to play it on hard mode. Hard mode is certainly hard, and my god is it so much fun. The challenge level is perfect, the world design is perfect, there are so many fun secrets to find that usually take the form of really cool weapons, the combat is so much better than it has any right to be, it's one of the best looking and sounding GBA games ever, the story is somehow actually really good, and the ending is such a perfect payoff to everything you've done in the game up to that point. The only issue I can find with it is that unlocking the true ending is just a little more confusing than I think it should be. Seriously, there's basically nothing else I would change. One of the greatest Metroidvanias ever made, possibly the best GBA game of all time, and easily my favorite Castlevania I've ever played, as well as one of my favorite games ever. If you like action platformers or Metroidvanias in any capacity, please go play this game. The fact that both the best and worst games I've played in the last year were made by the exact same team is hilarious. Because yeah, this is by the same people who made Harmony of Dissonance. How in the world do you have such a huge jump between games like that? God, I love this game so much. What a fitting one to put as number 1 for the whole year. Well, with that, we close off the first year of ToastyLoaf. I had a great time with it, and I'm glad a bunch of you have stuck around to watch most of my videos. If you want to get this tier list in simplified form, as always I have a Google Doc in the description that ranks all the games I've played so far on the channel. Just building this up over time since I thought it would be pretty fun. So, how about the second year? Well, I have a lot planned. Most importantly, we're going to finish up the Mega Man Classic series pretty soon, and then get started working through the X series. I also plan to review every single Donkey Kong Country game by the time we get to the end of year 2, so look out for more of that. I've just started Dragon Quest, and while those videos take a lot more time to work on than the others, I do eventually plan to cover every US version of every game in the main series, although that will likely take years to do. Maybe we can also get to the Castlevania DS games, and finally come back to my first few videos with some more Zelda dungeon rankings. And there are a few one-off games I want to take a look at as well. Basically, there's a lot to look forward to for me, and hopefully for you too. Well, in any case, see you in the next video, and thanks for watching.